Identical twin sisters known as Tas and Jas are caught in a web of lies and incriminating evidence. Arrested for the brutal slaying of their mother, Nikki Whitehead.
You know, I don't believe anything they say. Everything they said, whether it had some truth or fiction in it, had their self-interest at heart.
The 16-year-old girls are hauled off to jail, keeping silent about the chilling crime. But after nearly 4 years awaiting trial, the twins finally come forward with a stunning admission, outright confessing to the brutal attack and murder.
I think I picked up a knife and I stabbed her.
Where did you stab her?
I think I stabbed her in the stomach. It was multiple times. I think I had her hands, Jas, her feet. Kind of like a joint effort. She was heavy. We just put it in. The water was turned on.
At some point in time, you did realize that morning your mom was dead.
Yeah.
As part of a deal with the state to avoid trial, Tas and Jas pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter. Both were sentenced to 30 years in prison. But the question remains, what really happened that dark day?
By their account, they were up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They didn't want to get up when they were awakened to go to school for by their mother. And I think that's what sparked the attack, the confrontation, and that they killed their mother. And then they spent a couple of hours fabricating parts of the crime scene and cleaning it up. And then they went to school so that they would have an alibi.
Detectives say they found a journal in the home. It revealed a premeditated plan to murder their mother for some time.
And they would write back and forth to each other how much they disliked their mother, and even to the point that they said in their writings that if they didn't get rid of her soon, they weren't going to be able to.
This was an act of rage. It was, the two girls had planned for this event.
Cops believe Nikki never stood a chance in the savage attack. The bloody path even extends to outside the home, suggesting Nikki managed to get away, but the girls dragged her back to the house to finish her off.
At some point, Nikki escaped, made it to that house next door. When we interviewed that resident, he recalled someone yelling, and he heard someone ring his doorbell. He was in bed at the time, and he didn't get up to go investigate. And we could see where Nikki's bare feet exited and re-entered through that door in blood. So we would surmise that she was pulled back into the house where the attack resumed.
Back in the house, the heinous assault continued, the girls smashing their mother over the head with a pot, stabbing her with a kitchen knife, choking her with the ribbon of a medal, then dragging her body into the tub, where they left her to die.
What does she say when she's in the tub?
Kill me now, and I'll kill y'all.
But what happened then?
She just, she went under a couple times, and that was it.
I'm sure that their confession was self-interested. They were looking out for themselves and had been coached by attorneys, and they said enough to live up to their part of the plea.
By the time they serve their 30-year sentence, the twins will be in their 40s. In the meantime, Jas has traded in her jailhouse jumpsuit for a different uniform, at least for a day. She's graduated high school in the slammer and even served as class valedictorian.
I worked really, really, really hard. I stayed up all night some days to finish some of the things they gave me.
And despite Jas and Tas admitting to slaughtering their own mother, Nikki's own grandmother, the girl's great-grandmother, Della Frazier, is unbelievably beaming with pride at the accomplishments Jas is making while behind bars.
I am so proud of her. I feel so good about what she accomplished. And I always wanted to see this day come, that she graduated and moved on to things that she wants to do in life, because she is a very gifted girl, very.
And yet, underneath the proud smile is a cold-blooded killer, part of an evil duo who viciously killed the very woman who gave them life.
She had fought for her life. You know that her last few moments of life had to be horrible. She was being murdered by her own daughters, twin daughters, and that she fought for her life and lost.
But to try to get inside the minds of Jas and Tas Whitehead, we brought in forensic psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober. Doc, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Chris.
You ever see a case quite like this where you have twins, good students, active kids, murder their mother?
Chris, this is a relatively rare phenomenon. Only about 2% of homicides are what we call patricides, or cases where kids kill their parents. And out of that 2%, only 15% are daughters that kill their parents.
The mother was stabbed some 80 times. That's sending a message.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because the majority of the cases where daughters kill their mothers, you see this quite often, where they'll be stabbing 60, 70, 80 times. There's just so much rage, especially where the daughters kill their mothers.
Are they able to be rehabilitated?
Obviously, it will depend how they do when they're in prison. Are there any violent episodes while they're incarcerated? But absent that, I do think that when they come back into society, if they had the right supports, there would be a good probability for rehabilitation.
Doctor, thank you very much for your
Thanks,
insight.
Chris.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.